Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge. Yes, my videos are still coming out slowly. I'm still fighting this injury in my shoulder and arm, but I think it's getting a little bit better. And then I also had a dental emergency kind of thing this week as well. So my videos are a little bit slow right now. They will pick up speed. I will get better. The other thing is I'm not replying to comments down below right now. One of the issues I'm having is it's very difficult for me to type, and I just don't have the patience to do the left hand only hunt and peck kind of typing. That's just so frustrating. And even just sitting upright, tends to hurt my shoulder. I need to be, reclining and resting, and that's the only thing that's giving me, some relief. And that's what the doctor told me to do, really rest it, just give it time to heal. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong, but he explained it to me and I just don't understand it. I will get better. My videos will get better as well and more frequent again. I used to do like 5-6 videos a week, sometimes, one a day for a couple weeks in a row. Lately, it's been like 1 or 2 a week. So we'll get there. Today, we're looking at this. This is by American Buffalo Knife and Tool Company. So they're all designed by the couple that owns this company out of Tennessee, I believe. And this is a fixed blade that they've got. This is the Predator. It comes in 3 different blade and handle series. You either get this blackwash. Actually, do they have a non-blackwash one, just stonewash? I don't recall right now. I think they're all blackwash. But you get 3 different handles. Actually, I'll show you pictures of all 3 of them right now. So what you saw is different handle options. They're all G10, even the camo one. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing a camo one, so I don't know if it's a coating that they put on with that pattern or how they made the camo one with the G10. But so you've got those G10 options. I really do like this tan version with that dark black stonewash, and it's a good size knife with D2 steel. You've got a sheath with a belt loop on it, and I'm thinking this thing is just about the right size to either wear as a neck knife or as a belt knife. I do think of neck knives as, substantial neck knives are still legitimately neck knives. They just don't have a place in our urban society that much. Like if you had a full-size knife bigger than this, hanging from your chest around your neck, wouldn't be too socially acceptable in the West. But this guy might be very good for, a lot of the year where you might have it under a jacket. And we're going to talk about this thing today. So D2 steel, for around $40. Actually, there's one spot that's got one of these right now for like $32, Amazon. I've got links down below for a number of different places where you can buy these. The Amazon links are referral links, and that does help me out a little bit. But it's almost the best price also from the manufacturer themselves on their website. So actually, I got all those details down below. But before I get into that, check out this video, this review. It's coming to you right now. First off, let's do a little bit of a size comparison. Here is a Mora knife. This is the Flex. It's got a slightly shorter blade than a lot of the Scandi Grind ones. But let's just line it up, the front of the handle scale lined up next to each other. And here's that Ganzo knife that I reviewed a little while ago. So as you can see, very much the same size. If we line up the spine of the handle of the sheath here, yeah, very much the same size knife. Slightly smaller handle on the guy that we're talking about today, but it has a little feature that I like quite a lot. So we've got this forward choil that is useful in if you do want just a slightly, closer grip, a little better control for more delicate work. It comes up like this, and actually it works very, very well that way. I like it quite a lot. Most of that forward choil is, the full thickness of the blade, so very comfortable in hand, but also gripping it, with your index finger in the main choil, Very comfortable. It just fits my hand. As you can see right there, my hands are between large and extra large in Western sizes, 10 and 11 in European sizes. So you can see a little bit about how big this knife would be in your hand. You know, if you can estimate your hand size compared to mine, a very good grip that way. And when you do come up, you know, even better, much more handle sticking out a little bit. The grips on this knife are one of the big pros on it. You know, here's a reverse grip, quite comfortable in either hand, and that's very useful. And you can get that reverse grip, you know, coming down a little bit like this. You do have to be a little bit careful on a reverse grip using this forward choil. My finger tends to ride up on that little bit of an edge right there. And with the factory edge right here, it's not too dangerous, but once I go to sharpen this thing even more, but it does come with a sharp edge, I'm telling you. It's sharper than my average knife review. Is sharper than the average knife that I review, is what I was trying to say. But, you know, I like to sharpen them even sharper than that, just because the kind of guy that I am. So there you go. Handle scales are screwed on with these Torx screws, T8 screws, and I'll show you what's underneath those screws right now. So here's the knife with the handle scales off. You can see right there, there's a number, 611. And handle scales also have 611 on them, you know, to match on here. I suspect that after they make the matching handle scales and make them fit exactly, they probably take these apart and have another step done to the blade, and then they put them back together again. That's probably why they have to number them like this, so that they will definitely put the right ones matching together. Also, you know, here's the screws, and you know, they're designed, you know, they're free spinning either side. So what you have to do is you have to put this into some kind of holder so that you can screw it on both sides. And these are actually T9 screw heads. I was using T8s and it was feeling like it was slipping a little bit and a little bit loose. And so I was thinking these screw heads aren't very nice. And then I decided to check the T9 screw heads, and they fit in here very, very well. Very, very simple knife, as you can see. D2 steel we have here, and I totally trust the D2 from these guys. It is an American company, you know, but it is made in the People's Republic of China. And this is the model AB004, and then the letter at the end is what says what type of handle color combination it is. This is the T, the most common, the tan one. You also have B for black, and then you've got, I forget what the letters are for camo. I think it's BC. American Buffalo knife and tool. The blade is a slight drop point blade with a swedge up here to make it look like it's quite thin, but it's, you know, got a good blade thickness, roughly around 1/8 of an inch thick, and that thickness continues most of the way towards the tip, over halfway down the blade, probably about 2/3 of the way, and then it really starts tapering to a tip that is both strong. Whoops, I'm off screen a little bit. To a tip that is both fairly strong and, let me see if I can refocus this, quite delicate. So it's a tip that's good for delicate work, and yet it's somewhat robust as well. I never advocate prying with your knives, but sometimes when you have a knife, you want to do a little bit of, you know, a dig kind of cut. So when you're cutting on a steep angle and trying to dig something out of something or other, this blade shape is really good for that. We've got a high flat grind, which it's a saber grind, and then full tang all the way to the back. Lanyard hole placement is very good. I don't use lanyards often on these, but if I would, I like the placement of this quite a lot. And then everything's nice and smooth and contoured. The back of the handle fits in the palm of the hand quite well, that rounded edge. And then all these other smooth spots. It makes this knife very comfortable for so many different grips, and I like that an awful lot. By the way, D2 steel has a Rockwell, you know, around 60. It can go higher. It can go a little bit lower. So that's a good material. D2 is very robust. It's not a stainless steel, so you do have to be careful. If you live, you know, very close to the ocean or where knives rust very easily, D2 might not be the best choice for you. But if you just keep a very thin bit of oil on here occasionally, D2 can stand up to being in more challenging environments with quite easily, because there still is a fair bit of chromium in here, even though it's not quite stainless category. Like I said, G2 handle scales. The sheath, this is not Kydex. I think it's probably some kind of ABS or similar to ABS plastic. It is not a full belt loop. Let me see if I can get the right angle here to show you this. There you go. When you pull it off of there, it's a hook. And so it's easy to, slide onto a belt so that it'll hold either up and onto a belt or, down onto a belt. It just depends on which way you turn this. So Scout style carry works very well on this. But I also carried it. I took this off. That's why you can see a little bit of wear on those screw heads at the right angle. Some of the paint's come off, or coating, whatever it is. And I put paracord through here and carried it as a neck knife, and it carries very well that way. There's a hole all the way through right here for drainage, so that if you are using it on a belt and some moisture gets in here, it can drain out the end. It's got a good snap for retention. You heard that snap, and you can see the shape here that holds it, but it is a bit loose. So if you want something that's super silent, what you can do is pack a little bit of what I like to use on this type of knife in this exact scenario is I like to put a little bit of thick paper, like the kind that you get on a cereal box or a tissue box, a Kleenex box, something like that, that kind of thicker paper, and put a longer piece of it in and jam it up on the spine side so that it's going to slide in right here on this, along that line there, and put pressure on it that way. And that will help tighten this knife in there without it affecting your cutting edge at all. So it's a reasonable sheath, not the best sheath, but it's functional and it holds the knife. There's no risk of the knife being lost easily. And it's just that little bit of noise because of the movement in there. This side here where it comes out a bit, I put my thumb on there, I grip with my fingers and push a little bit, and that's how you can take the knife out. Works very well that way. Just overall, this knife has got a good shape to it for hardy use and delicate use. I really like how it's compromised that way very well. I'm going to show you the balance point first. It bounces right there by that finger choil. It wants to turn a little bit, but there it is. It sometimes wants to fall like that. And now it's time to go over all of the dimensions, measurements, and all of that kind of stuff. And the cutting edge is 8.07 centimeters, 3.18 inches. Blade length, so tip to the closest spot on the handle scale here, is 8.53 centimeters, 3.36 inches. The blade thickness is 3.1 millimeters, which is 0.122 of an inch, very close to 1/8 of an inch, just a tiniest bit off. And then the blade depth this way, measured about 1 inch from the sharpener's choil, 2.75 centimeters, 1.08 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind at that same spot, right where my thumbnail is, 0.51 millimeters, which is 0.02 inches. Perfect. That's almost exactly what I want it to be. The grind angle, this side is 18.1 degrees, and this side is 17.9 degrees. Right at the sharpener's choil, it's a bit steeper, going all the way up to about 23, 25 on this side. But the rest of the blade, from about where my fingernail is to the tip, is very close to that 18 degrees. But when I do sharpen this knife, I think I'll bring it to my standard of 20 degrees per side. But there's no need to sharpen it yet because it's still got a very good factory edge. And this is after my testing. I'm not going to demonstrate the cutting edge right now because that's largely the skill of the person behind the knife. And, anybody can make a cutting edge look good or look terrible and have the exact same edge at play. Let's talk about the handle now. The handle length is 10.4 centimeters, 4.09 inches. The handle thickness is 1.3 centimeters, which is 0.51 of an inch, so half an inch thick right there. It's a little more narrow here where the screws are, and there's a bit of a bump, a little bit of a bulge here. That helps make it very comfortable. The handle depth, that's this measurement. It's biggest right about here by this screw head. 2.38 centimeters, 0.938 inches. And then the grip area, oh, I forgot to convert it. It's about 3.5 inches. And the measurement in centimeters is right here. And the total length of this knife is 18.85 centimeters, about 7.44 inches. So it's not a large knife, but it's not a small knife either. Very, very capable size. The factory edge sharpness on here, and I measure using a calibrated measuring device. I slice through some monofilament, and the amount of pressure that it takes to cut in a straight down motion is the number I get. This one's 100. 200 is the standard to be called sharp, and anything smaller, less pressure, less grams of pressure, is better. 100 is excellent, especially from a factory sharpener. The weight of this knife, 93 grams, 3.3 ounces. And with the sheath, 138 grams, 4.85 ounces. So this whole thing is less than 5 ounces. And that's not bad for a knife of this size and these dimensions. What are the pros and cons? Let's go over that really quick. The sheath is a little bit loose, and it's not Kydex, but this thing costs like $33. $33 to $40 is where you're going to find the price range. If you're paying more than $40 for this knife, you're simply paying too much. You can get it for $40 or less. That is, if you're in North America and you're buying it from a USA store. In other places, it might be harder to find. Of course, you go to Europe, prices go up. You go to Australia, prices go up. You go to Asia, prices go up. It's just, well, it depends on if you go to China or not. But this knife I haven't found at a Chinese store, at least not the authentic one. And this is the authentic one designed by American Knife and Tool. Pros and cons, still, I really like this forward choil. It doesn't take away much of the blade, because if you see where the plunge is, if they would leave the plunge the same, the most cutting edge you could add onto it would be about less than 1/8 of an inch. So it doesn't do anything to take away from the use of this knife, but it adds, for delicate comfort use. I like that a lot. I like that it's, the placement of it, the design is just very good. The lanyard hole is in a very good spot. The shape of the blade, the grind of the blade, all those things are very, very functional. I didn't tell you before, but those of you who know me, I live with chronic pain already. That's my debilitating thing. I live on a disability pension. Now, that's actually neither here nor there, but I'm in an awful lot of pain all the time. I get used to that. But now with the added pains that I'm having, if this video sounded a bit disjointed, please let me know. Maybe I should wait and not do any reviews until I'm back in my tip-top shape, whatever that is. Just let me know in the comment section below. Give me your honest feedback on what you thought of this video. Thank you so much for watching it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. It's almost the end of the month. Time to have one of you Patreon supporters win something. And we'll see as soon as the month-end Patreon support has been processed by Patreon. I like giving away knives, so there you go. If you're not yet a Patreon supporter and you want to consider it, click down below on the link at www.patreon.com/CCE. And thank you very much to the supporters that help me out every month. I appreciate it a lot. So all in all, do I recommend this knife? Yes, I do. If you know of a way to fix or adjust, I should say, an ABS sheath, I know with Kydex, I could put it in my little toaster oven, warm it up a bit, and then give it a bit of a squeeze so that it won't have as much play. If you're familiar with ABS plastics and on how to, adjust the sheath with that kind of plastic, please let me know. Email me at CanadianCuttingEdge@gmail.com. If you leave it in the comments, I will read it. I just probably won't be replying, at least not for a while. So thanks again. Remember, guys, always like, share, comment, and subscribe. And once you've done that, cut towards your chum, not your thumb.